Hi everyone! Welcome back to another part of the Touchstarved demo. I am really enjoying this demo so far, so I'm just diving straight back in. I turned up the music a little bit because I noticed in my last video that it wasn't as strong, so you could barely hear it. So hopefully this is it. Though it's a little too loud for me, so hopefully this is a happy medium. Anyways, let's dive back into it because I need to know what happens after, Leander offers to get the main character settled because she does not have a place to stay right now. And so, will she stay in Lowtown? Oh, there's the silhouettes on screen. It's like thunderous. I quite like that. I won't wait for it again, but. Yes. This is where we are. Okay. What will happen? The Wet Wick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or, in a few cases, fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Bartender, what do you think is happening here? But Leander must do it often enough for these escapades to be referred to. He blushes. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. And I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend Chantal. Sure, sure. Stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed. Anything you need. Carefully I take the key from him. It's small, but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, Chantal. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers. But if you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. Okay, bye, Leander. Where are we going now? The air clings, sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Karas and Leander both made it clear that the Synovium can't be trusted. But I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Synovium for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. Ooh, what is this? I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. This is quite ominous. A cloud, I think, until a puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement or a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. Is it over? The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. What was that then? Oh, oh, who? Were you the monster? What is this music? I feel like this character is quite mischievous. A monster. That much is clear from a glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for human were it not for the tufted ears. The tail curled around his ankle. Cute. Was this monster the shadow from earlier? To get my attention? I didn't think we'd run into another love interest so soon. Or the dust pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet and the monster uncrosses his long legs. His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood, where it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beasts I've seen are the Wick's drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. Oh, a key! Are you stealing my key? I just got that key! Look at the tail. But the key! Ugh. I have to go. With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears dangling from his finger. It turns on its chain, glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pocket, and sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his finger, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. I don't know. I don't know. Who said that's my key? Who said that key's mine? He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. A bold-faced lie said without a hint of irony. I can't figure out how he picked my pockets under my nose, but I'm certain he took my key, and I need it back. I approach the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clings with the tilt of his head. His ears flick. Oh my god, look at this character design. Look at the ears! Also gorgeous. Ugh, I love the red. Also, it's a beautiful hair color. And the eyes. Ugh. Keeping your distance. I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key? From all the way over here. He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? He's got me there. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like cost more than I spent traveling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. The perk of years. Luckily for you, I don't charge. Blatant flirting, once again. There should be a blatant flirting counter. You know what, that's at least twice. You know, first Leander, then this character here. This person. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for my handy... Or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely, and I might even let you tug my tail. Then what do you do? Just throw it here. Some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here. So, tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? I think it's quite interesting that the main character is from outside of Iridia, but so far, Iridia by these characters have been described as not a place that it seems like, which is fair. Obviously, being told that a city is full of, like, hope and promises and all the good things is, like, too good to be true. But, is it really that bad? I guess we'll have to find out. His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. Why are you saying that with that face? By now my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. You know what? Maybe if I flirt back, that will distract him. Let's just do it. How'd you know that I spent all my money, starved, and nearly died in a swamp just so I can crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? Could you be any more obvious? I have been told subtlety's not my strength. So, your place or mine? I need my key. If only I had my key, then I might be able to invite you up. His languid gaze glides from me to the key in his hand and back. Come, take my hand and we'll go together. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me, but I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard unless you beg me. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we were having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their ludus is utterly exquisite, truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his fingers. Naturally, this dump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. High town, low town. I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about the Synovium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it. The absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Synovium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars in their limp dick tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh? Have you some pressing matters at the Synovium? Lunch dates with librarians? Tea time with the most esteemed abbess? That's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key. But as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. No. Oh. Hey! Hi. Hey! He yanks me down and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them, even as his fingers dig into my arm. Oh. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death in the road. And that fucking doctor. Oh, they have beef. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go. Let go of me. I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both. There? The stranger's ears flatten and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her Synovium uniform is nearly identical to the one my mentor kept tucked away in her closet. I leave you for what? All of what, 10 minutes? And you're making trouble again. Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, fair I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Ver just cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger is drawn to you like a moth to flame. It will always find you, given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice, don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the streets. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs off a wilting look from Bear. Oh, please. Any friend of yours knows it's true. Now, hold still. Veer rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of its collar. Bear posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. The woman produces a key ring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend's tagging along on our merry little soulless hunt. Huh. So, like, Ver serves the Synovium for punishment? They're hunting for soulless inside the city. Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight smile before marching down the stairs. Ver lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed. Bear hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Loventian knot? That? The one where you take 3 fingers? And actually, don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Bear's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from sight that I realize I'm still missing something. Wait. Reflexively, I shove my hands into my pockets and find it. The room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts from my relief. I don't know what Bear's game was or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the Synovium saw fit to leash him, a fate I could share if that's what his fake warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns, gently swaying in the breeze to the Synovium faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, then I could put this all behind me. This time, the key goes in my coin purse for safekeeping. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia into 2. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill toward the distant tower. Oh, the tower. Oh, look at this background. Oh, so pretty. So we're entering Hightown, I assume. I love these colors, so earthy. And I love this dome painting here. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for. The Synovium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the Synovium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. The gates are so heavily enchanted that even standing near them sets my teeth on edge. Alchemically reinforced locks, invisible sigils of alarm, and who knows what else. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. Another person. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine, as if testing its strength. Oi, you there! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps toward me. Ah, another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing, just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. That was one of the other love interests, but don't know if we will see them here now in this episode or later on. I step away from the gate, hopelessness washing over me. Did anyone else hear that? That was like a ghostly hi. Hello. Hello. A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off her, not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, you need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or if I even should. I feel like we need information. Respond sarcastically. Seems like I'm in the market for a miracle. Know anyone selling? She beams at me like I've said the greatest thing she's ever heard. Lucky for you, I have them for free. I'm a little wary now. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her finger under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What are you As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? By the looks of it, the disease that afflicted this woman ate away at her spine, leaving her with a hollowed vertebrae at the back of her neck. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet... The power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Excuse me. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the Synovium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there, wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have here? I take a final look at the Synovium's shut gates, then follow her down the steps. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, then farther still, until I'm met with an all-too-familiar sight. My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it, but venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. I'd rather not. Are you kidding? It's not safe out there. You're as safe inside the city as outside of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Ace. Most people know him as gang leader, but he's much more than that. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. And apparently, I'm both. But if the sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Chantal. I hope we meet again. I did not tell this woman my name. Oof. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. From what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward. One step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Girl, I realized it for you. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building, nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place, it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless, several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I just run. exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards that decorated building. Flashes of light chase me. Of last night chase me. It's only been one day. Flashes of last night chase me. The gushes of blood and screams of death. The smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. Are we safe? Oh. Ooh, look at the background. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellish than sanctuary. Oh, look at the red. Is that blood? Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth. But the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of the environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seeming pillows scatter the floor, a rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here despite how eerily empty it is. I'm gonna stay silent. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for the closest one. I reach for a note in front of me. It reads, "Dear Mother, don't cry for me. I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye, but we'll meet again in another life. I love you very much. From Iris. P.S. If you ever see me, never speak to me again." It's written in perfect cursive. I've never seen such beautiful handwriting. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty, vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper. Something wrong. I don't know what voice to do this. Hey. I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl. How did they say hey? Tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly. All different species and sizes, but sharing one identical trait. Glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. Who is this? That voice again. At the sound of it, soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. Oh, hello. Boots and all. Look at that. Just look at these. Maybe it's Ace? I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. You look lost. You look lost, little sparrow. I am, apparently. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. They are the same eyes I've seen, over and over, first with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless's growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey! Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I don't want to say fuck you. I'm just gonna say I'm distracted. Because honestly, person is probably trying to help me. I'm kind of distracted by the soulless about to maul me. Only on my command. I love it says bastard. For the nameplate now. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking. Posturing more than anything else. You tame them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. Expecting mercy was your first mistake. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. Tell me what you want? This might get me killed, but... Tell me what you want. I'm not in the mood for guessing games. Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well. The hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. Okay. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. Wow, look at this design. I love the hair. The black with the little, like, tufts of white. Oh, another gorgeous design. He's a monster with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards. And find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the sea spring. I fall, right before a warm hand catches my lower back. Thank you. That's great. Thanks for your reflexes. I'm hovering above the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Oh, so close to... Wow. Oh, gorgeous. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt, it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. Wow. Another pose. I love how dynamic the sprites are in this game. Like, we get several per love interest, and I love to see it. Also, I'm in love with... I love this character design. So, if you can't tell by now, you might be able to tell what kind of type I have when it comes to these games, so. Wow. Gorgeous. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. Does he like tea? The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it. I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're Ace, aren't you? Depends who's asking. Again, gorgeous. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said that you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ace picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. Gang took a walk. Look at that smile. Did they die? His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. What do you need the sea spring's power for? Depends. Can it cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The sea spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the sea spring? My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. It's not as if I'm averse to elixirs or decoctions. I've made my fair share of them, but one misstep and you can easily meet with a fate worse than death. Is there a price? Always. Ace taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. Good to mention. That's it? Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. Oh, that's such a cute... Excuse me. Don't mind me. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. Some legends suggest that independent minds can be physically linked together, psychically linked together through a strong enough catalyst. It's never been done before. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Are you the first one to drink from the sea spring? I wonder if it works like cumulatively. If you're the first one, then there's just less people. Or if it adds on as you keep drinking. As more people keep drinking the sea spring. Before I can finish my sentence, Ace strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Came on a bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ace's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ace approaches a nearby soulless, a lanky dog-like one with six legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ace squats beside it. He runs his finger through the tendrils, scratching its chin and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Ace's lips. The affection he holds for the soulless is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. That is quite nice. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Ace's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the soulless warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I gave a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing it may be. I follow the soulless at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ace's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Wow. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Outside, more crimson-eyed soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as a dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the soulless looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following it. And now it is night. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. Can I pet the soulless? What a good soulless! So cute. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the soulless's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Ace had. It pushes into my palm. Oh my god, that's so cute. In response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr, the vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the soulless spins around and scampers back into the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible. Tame soulless being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. I think you should. I think we need to go back to our room. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city, labyrinthine, even in daytime, has become aware of treacherous alleyways. It was like Halloween-esque. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the Wet Wick. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? I'm imagining things. I take a deep breath, quelling an instinctive flicker of fear. I know my nerves are shot, but if I give in to paranoia and start running, I'll just get lost. Measuring my breaths and steps, I forge ahead. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder. Maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. Oh. The soulless that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape. A body. A garland of intestines spills from pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For a mercy, the soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another. Then another. Oh, girl, you stepped on some glass! That would be me. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the soulless raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its sulphurous, bulging eyes fix unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Oh, poop, poop, poop. We gotta run. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, a piercing bay splits the silence, and heavy footfalls pound after me. This is probably why people are in their places and not out in the streets right now. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. If I die here, I'm so sorry. I can hear its breath now, a wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out. I ducked, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way. A dead end. When I turn around, the soulless looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but we're gonna try the nearest door. I don't know. Okay, I think I have to actually save here because I don't think screaming is going to help, but maybe the doors will also be locked. I whirl, grabbing at the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the other side and it slams shut. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only wording I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. Am I dead? Oh my god, I'm actually dead. But the impact never comes. Oh my god. I thought I'd die. Who did what? And when? And another person? I rarely crack one eye open, then the other. Not sure where I should believe what I'm seeing. I probably should have screamed for help. But you know. A hooded figure crouches in front of me. Is it Min? One bloodstained hand outstretched. Oh my god, it's Min. From earlier. The shadow from earlier. I'm gonna stop here because I'm just glad to know I am safe. Main character is safe, but I will continue from here. And know that I didn't make the mistake, in not screaming. So, I hope you are all enjoying this so far. If you are following along, I hope you're having as much fun as I am delving into the story and, learning more about the main character and what afflicts them in terms of their curse and everything. So far we've met 4 out of 5 of the love interests, so that's great. I'm sure we'll get to talk to this one a bit more in the next episode. But who knows, maybe they'll disappear on us and we'll have to encounter them again. But yes, I'm gonna get knowing now. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!